Welcome back to an all-new podcast. Dennis Blue,
What?
you're here.
No, actually, I'm here.
Everything good. We had a great conversation with our friend Lac Loy last time, and
Yep.
tonight we have another visitor from across the pond. And do you remember his name?
Whose?
Exactly. Our good friend Johnny Mac is here tonight.
Mac.
That is his screen name, and he's got a lot of great stories, and wonderful friend of our group, the Wednesday night group, and a Bruce Lee enthusiast and practitioner. But in the meantime, what's going on with yourself? Anything new?
Me?
Yeah, everybody wants to know. They're dying to know.
Inquiring minds want to know.
Shot
No,
anything?
nothing.
Shot
Nothing.
anything? Anybody?
No, just writing, trying to write, and yeah, that's really about it.
Yes.
Oh, I work.
In
Yeah,
your work.
I
Yes,
do
we
that,
have.
yes.
We got to get those books done. You and I are both promising to get out there.
Yeah, I've got a whole. You saw my desk right now.
Yes. That's all that behind him is research material.
Yep.
It is the unauthorized biography
Stacks of
of.
notes there and over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 portable drives.
Wow.
Yeah. One day I'll
And
turn them into an actual book.
yes, the unauthorized biography of Jeremy Lynch.
See?
I didn't know you
Unless I
could.
just dump all this stuff on you and you can put it all together and make a book.
There we go. Yes, that would sound great. Well, I'll tell you, I've been looking forward to this because our guest is quite entertaining and not only a good friend, brother from another mother, as they say.
Right.
He's Irish, and
It's
yet
from the IRL.
and yet he's British at the same time. How does that work?
Oh,
I've never heard such a thing.
that's crazy talk right there.
All right, so without further ado, why don't we welcome
Johnny Mac.
Johnny Mac, come on in. How you doing there, Johnny?
Hey, hello.
Wow, he grew a hat.
He grew a hat, and there he is, the man himself.
Oh.
How's everything?
Can you see this, Johnny?
I'm officially awake now because it's 8.
Ace in the water. Do you see what
There.
Dennis is pointing at behind him?
Can you
I've
see
seen
it?
it. No observations. Yeah, I was using my phasic vision there, and I seen Mac and Son's T-shirt behind him. Yeah.
And great. So you finally made it awake. You're up. It's after midnight here, so we can all claim to be tired, but
Well, when you're from Ireland, 8:30 on the Sunday morning ain't a good time. We don't get up till 12 o'clock on a Sunday because we do like our pints, as the fella says. Yeah. Yeah, we don't go to mass anymore because them days are gone. But yeah, it's early for me. I like a lion on a Sunday, but for you and Dennis, anything. Once I've got my cup of tea, I'm okay.
there you go.
What kind of tea is that then?
That'd be builder's tea, as they call it.
Ah.
English. Well, it's English breakfast tea, but it should be Irish. It should be Irish breakfast tea because when you live in England so long, what did you say? I was English earlier on, but did I hear something about saying?
I said no. I said you're Irish, but you're sort of British because you live there. That was what I was saying. I was like,
Listen, you can take the man out of Ireland, but you can't take the Irish out of the man. But what I did say to somebody last night, just we're going off piece here. Somebody says, "Do you miss Ireland?" And I says, "I do." She says, "Isn't it strange when you go home to Ireland and sometimes you say some English terms?" And I says, "Well, I went home to Ireland and I went for a breakfast, a big fry up at breakfast, and the waitress in Dublin says to me, 'What would you like for breakfast, sir?' I says, 'Can I have a full English?' She says, 'No, you mean you're meant to say a full Irish.'" So I got in trouble.
That's right. Yeah, I was wondering how you would respond to that when I said
Oh.
you're a bit British. I got to go last year with my wife. Unfortunately I didn't see you. I was over there. I did a little class, but you were out doing business like always. And
Yeah.
then we got to hop over to Ireland and just spend a beautiful few days. And and it was magic. But it was, you know, you remember that that CrowdStrike thing that happened where all these airlines were hit because it wasn't an attack. It was the security software pushed
Mm.
a
Yeah.
patch that messed up the systems. And of all the times, my 30th wedding anniversary trip to Ireland, my first time to Ireland, and my flight was canceled. You know, they got us on another one, but we lost 12 hours. So you think about it, all these plans at different uh, hotels and different cities. It's like we got to Dublin at nighttime. And it's like go to
Yeah.
bed, get up, and then start, you know, go to Galway, you know, and I'm learning how to
Yeah.
drive on the left side of the road. I did quite well.
It's when you hire when everybody, especially for the American people and the Europeans, it's like when you get your hired car. There's a big sticker on the dashboard and a big sticker on the windscreen. You please drive on the left hand
Yes.
side of the road because
Yeah.
everybody comes out of Dublin Airport, and the first thing they do, they go on the right hand side, and there's always a pile up outside outside the airport.
Yeah. Well, you know, and the thing is, I was okay with the craziness of the driving because we're from California, you know,
Yeah,
and it's like the driving can't be much more crazy than it is here on the 91 and everything. But they said there's a lot of road rage here. Well, the funny thing was, I did really well driving on the left side, and I'm on the I don't know what you call them, freeways there, the highways.
dual carriageways. Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm thinking, you know what? I'm going to take my time. I'm going to not rush, but let me get out of everybody's way. So I pull over to the right. And then
No.
I'm thinking,
Oh
and then,
no.
yeah, people were honking. And then I said, oh yeah, that would be the left. The slow lane is the left. So that was the only thing I kind of messed up. I did pretty well. Dennis, have you had to drive on the left side of the road besides when you're
I
sleepy
can
here
neither
and then?
confirm or deny.
You get over to the British countries or the countries that drive on the left, whichever,
Yep,
you know, and
I do fine.
yeah, you do okay, huh?
In Thailand, they drive because my wife is from Thailand.
Yeah.
In Thailand, they drive on the left hand side of the road. So I love it. I love driving over there because it's easy. But when I went to see you guys 2 years ago, driving out of LAX airport, oh my mother of God, I thought I was going to have a panic attack.
I
I
know.
I've never witnessed traffic like that in America in my life.
Oh,
Really?
Plus, it's the first time I've ever driven in America, and plus, it's the first time I've ever driven on the wrong side of the road. It was nuts. Believe me.
it's the right side of the road. That's why we call it the right side of the road.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Well, well, man. So just before we get to all the fun,
Yeah.
we do have a tendency to talk about Bruce Lee and Jeet Kune Do on here, although you know it's not meant to limit. Yeah, you've got that. That is our general connection with most of our guests so far. In fact, every guest so far.
Yeah.
And so I kind of would just get into give us your background as to where, because obviously you're not just a practitioner. You're an enthusiast. You're a fan. Where give us the story. What got you introduced to Bruce Lee and in the first place? Like, give us your background.
Bruce Lee. Okay. 46 years ago, I'm in County Galway in Ireland, and I'm in my cousin's house, and they had those old VHS video recorders. The big VHS tape stuck in this VHS tape and ching ching. And next thing, I just witnessed this little skinny fella with a weird It's probably the first time I've probably seen an Asian man in on the TV, and I was just fascinated by this guy just kicking, and then the nunchucks come out, and I went, "What are these things?" So I decided to go make myself some nunchucks, um, from my mother's sweeping brush. And my mother was like, she was like Clint Eastwood with a slipper, because when she went to find the sweeping brush, it was about 2 foot shorter. She says, "What have you done with my sweeping brush?" I said, "I've made these nunchucks. Have you heard of Bruce Lee?" She goes, "No, no, no, no. I don't care who Bruce Lee is. I need my sweeping brush." But I made these nunchucks anyway, and I was just fascinated by him. But in them days, there was only there was probably just Enter the Dragon, because you couldn't get all the other movies. you know, and there was no information. There was no information. It's not like now. There's there was no internet. You know, mobile phones, everything. You can access loads of stuff now, and I was just curious for a long time. And then I joined I joined a Bruce Lee like fan club, and used to get all these little clippets of magazines, and the only thing I ever read was I only read about his movies, but I didn't realize he formed JKD, because when you're that age, you don't get into the reading as much. You're just into the pictures and the movements, and because he was an icon, and you're making all the noises and the whole lot that he used to make, and it was just for years and years and years and years and years, you just couldn't get any info, you know. And
Yeah.
I was just fascinated, and I got into martial arts when I was young, but I never really stuck at it, because the martial arts school in Ireland, there was a lot of people there with egos.
Hmm.
All they want to do is get people into the class and just kick the shit out of you. And I was going, this ain't for me. Make a long story short, I had to go to boarding school. I went to boarding school from 13 till I was 16, and I left there when I was 16 years of age. And I was bullied in boarding school. So I says, one day I want to try and be able to protect myself. And then for years and years, I didn't do any martial arts, and I moved to London in 1997, and yeah, there was more access to movies and DVDs, and there was more martial arts schools in the UK. And I joined a martial arts school. It was a taekwondo school. I didn't like it at all. It was just it wasn't for me at all. So I done a little bit of boxing, and I was able to look after myself, because we have pubs. And then the greatest story ever told happened. And then when I came back from that, I decided to look up a JKD school, and I found Lack Light. It was on a couple of weeks ago. I found Lack School in 1995. I'm sorry, 2005, nearly 10 years ago, and that's how I ended up. That's how I ended up studying JKD, and then my whole life changed. I got into the whole philosophy of Bruce Lee, and it just opened up a whole new opened up a whole new world to me. You know.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know about Dennis, but I remember, I think that was a common, going back to your nunchucks. I don't remember how many broom handles I cut in half. And you put a nail in the end and one goes flying.
Oh, we used to get these hook nails and nail them in at the top. But you'd hit yourself in the back of the head. You'd be knocking yourself out. Your mother come into the kitchen and she see you unconscious on the ground, and you're going, "What are you doing? What are you like?"
Yeah, it's like we talk about how great an influence Bruce Lee is, and one of what our mothers would would say. What are
Yeah,
you like?
it was absolutely crazy.
We're losing. Oh, there it is. There.
Am I there?
Yeah, he's there. Uh, The,
Hey,
the
look, the Joker.
What did you call me?
I just saw that.
the Joker.
I'm gonna blow this place up.
For those of you listening and not watching the video, we're looking at an interesting model of the Joker that Johnny's had
In the skirt.
in a skirt. Yes.
Yeah.
If you want to watch
Nursing
this,
dress.
go find this on YouTube if you want to see the dress that Johnny's wearing.
I've got a great face. I've got a great face for radio.
That's right. We're selling a lot of tickets. All right, so yeah, I can really connect with that. It's like with the VCR thing. You got Bruce Lee and the Enter the Dragon, and it was very limited. And when they first started renting, out videotapes, that was, I think my dad was like, "Don't you want to rent something else?" We go in there. Oh, it was either Jackie Chan or Bruce Lee. And we
Yeah.
would get into Jackie Chan because there's only a couple of Bruce Lee. Of course, when you're not quite, as far along as understanding Bruce Lee and know here, I think when you're younger, you get suckered into the fake Bruce Lee movies too. And then,
Oh,
and then the more I watched, I started to finally realize, wait a minute, there's a difference here. One of them's spelled L-I, one of them spelled L-E, one of them spelled L-E-A, one of them's Dragon Lee, one of
Yeah.
they were fun to watch, but they were not.
they were ridiculous. Bruce Lee versus Elvis Presley, and it was just it was crazy. But you're thinking, here comes Bruce. Like when they brought out Game of Death, it was going, oh my jeez. When you look at the way that was constructed, do you know what I mean? There was such a demand for people to see Bruce Lee in the movie.
Yeah.
It was crazy. But now what's happening now is this whole AI thing. Because on Instagram I follow all these things. They're getting Bruce's old photographs and he's moving like this, you know. And you can see in the way they're turning the photographs into videos
Yeah.
that they're even getting his mannerisms right as well. So
Yeah.
I'm telling you, in about 12 months' time, there'll just be movies coming out about him.
Yeah.
You know, and I know, Jeremy, you're an actor as well, and a very good actor. There's going to
thank
be, I think it's going to be scary for actors out there because AI is definitely going to.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know if that's a good thing or not because, like, what's the
Yeah, I know.
point of training so hard and doing what Bruce Lee did if they're going to just be able to make movies with his image, you know,
Yeah,
and
I don't know
make him
whether.
even,
Yeah.
make him even faster than he was, and you know, just make him fly.
Oh, the One Punch Man.
The one punch man. He will be the true one punch man. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, like I said, but that's the connection that I had was going back to the videos and looking at all those things, and we had Chris Kent on a couple episodes back, and you know he did the sound effects, the Bruce Lee sound effects for that Game of Death movie.
Did he?
He
Really?
did the whoa, all that. And what did they call it? What did they call the reel when they bring it up, Dennis?
The chicken reel.
The chicken reel. So they had the actual recordings of Bruce Lee to play for Chris, and it was Dan that got him. He said, "Dan says you can do that. You can do I think you could do it." Took him to a studio, and now I think Chris could tell we were going to try to egg him to do it. So as soon as we asked him about it, he says, "Oh, people ask me to do it, and I don't." So we couldn't get him to do it on the show. But if you go back and watch all of the stuff that is, well, it could have even, no, all of the stuff that they added in later, all of the sound effects is Chris Kent.
I never knew that.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
The you know the Chris Kent came from Camberwell in London, which
Yep.
is literally I used to live in Camberwell because when I met him at Gok, is it Gok 1? Is it Gok?
Something
What's
like,
the guy? Your man from Leicester. What's his name?
oh,
Chinese guy.
Coughlin.
But yeah, Goklan. Yeah. So when I met him at that seminar. Actually, I met him twice. I says, "Where were you from? Where were you from in England?" He says, "I'm from Camberwell." And I says, I lived in Camberwell, and we were talking about all the different areas in Camberwell. But that's where he's from. So it's South London, yeah.
Oh, yeah. His accent has diminished a bit over the
I
years.
love when he says, the way he pronounces martial arts. He goes martial arts.
Yes. He's got a,
You can-
a very distinct.
You
It's
can hear
like
the English
British
and American
American.
accent. Yeah,
Yeah.
British American. Yeah.
What would you call that? Brerican?
American.
Amidish?
Hammerish?
He's from London, lads. He's from London. All right. He's from London.
All right, then. All right. Take it easy.
All right, son.
It's
All right, son. You want some? You want some?
Yes, sir. We're getting punchy. Yeah. Okay. So from there, okay. So what? Give us a little of your business. Well, no, actually, give us more of yourself. You're a family man. You're married to somebody from Thailand. What is your connection to Thailand? Do you ever spend much time over there?
Yeah, we go over there. We go over there once a year. Met my wife. Oh God, we're married. Better get this right. We got married in 2009. Boom. Got married in 2009, so we're married nearly 16 years. 2 lovely kids. Jack is 15. 6 foot. He's nearly 6'3" now.
Wow.
Man, I need to glove him up. He's going to be, and he can look after himself. And then Molly is 13. She's a little cracker, and yeah, I've been living in London since 1997. So yeah, family man. Anybody that's listening, I own bars and restaurants in London. That's my bread and butter. And yeah, been living and dealing in the hospitality all my life, probably entertaining too much, but that's just in my that's just in my DNA. Yeah. So yeah, I miss Ireland. I'd love to go back at some stage in my life. I don't know, but all my family's in the UK. My dad lives with me. My brother's my business partner. My sister's my business partner. My wife looks after all the food. My
Mm,
mum passed away, unfortunately, 3 years ago. So we're there's no need to go home. You know,
mm.
all my dad's friends have all passed on, and a lot of my relations have passed on. So it's like I think London is the home for us now, and in England now, it's great to be Irish in the UK for the
Mhm.
first time in fucking 800 years, I suppose. So it's cool. It's cool to be Irish, and it's cool to have a pint of Guinness, and it's just to be Irish now is it's a nice feeling. You know, get loads of respect, and in my industry, we've got two Irish pubs called Mac and Sons, and we just opened a new bar called Molly Mac's, and it's just gone like that. Everybody wants to be Irish. It's mental.
That's
It's
great.
just it's got a surgery. It's gone crazy. I can't believe how it's gone. But touch wood, it's long may it last.
Yeah. So you just opened one yesterday.
We had a bar called Jack's. Have you ever been to my pubs yeah, you have, Jeremy. You went to Mac and Sons. It's down. Do you know the Ring pub, the boxing pub?
Yes.
It was across the road in the railway arch. After COVID, after COVID was so tough for a lot of my businesses, and Jack's really failed because it's off the beaten track. So you have
Mhm.
to kind of try and find it.
Mhm.
And if you're not on the main street, it's very hard to get people down. So we made a decision to just close it down and rebrand it. But a lot of people say when you close a business that's already there and you try to rebrand it, it's really really risky because people they'll associate it with the old place.
Mhm.
So I says no, we'll be fine. So when I was in Thailand, I went to all these karaoke bars with singing bars with my wife. So they're restaurants and they all have these little rooms where you can go and sing. And I says that'd be a great idea for Jack's. Oh, it'll never work. It'll never work. I says it'll be great. So I came back, sat my team down, and said, uh, we're going to open a karaoke bar." And they went, "No." I says, "Yeah, seen this vision in Thailand." Bum bum bum. Had a chat with my brother. So we created this. Inside a railway arch. We created. It's like stepping back in time. They're like old sheds with karaoke rooms, and all the rooms are named after all my family members. And the new bar is named after my granny Molly.
Wow.
She used to own like a big fashion store, and she was great at hospitality. So we've dedicated the bar to her, and we put karaoke rooms, and there's live Irish music, great Guinness, and it's just done this in the
Just
last 4 days. It's gone from nothing. We done PR and marketing and everything, and then we done two social media posts on Instagram, and we paid say $2,000 an Instagram post, and it's done this.
wow. Just shooting up.
Social media, man. I'm telling you, some people say, "Oh, you dude," it is so important for your business. We done Guinness, live music, and we've done this thing called a spice bag. And a spice bag, if anybody doesn't know what a spice bag is, it was invented in Ireland by drunk people
Hmm.
going into a Chinese restaurant and saying, "I want chips, I want chicken, and I want spice."
Hmm.
And these guys create this spice bag. So when Irish people are drunk, they love spice bag. So on this Instagram post, we said spice bag. Every person that's come in the door in the last 3 days from that Instagram post, we can be because I go around and I'd say, "Well, how did you hear about Molly Max? We've seen you on Instagram talking about the spice bag." It's
Really?
just yeah, it's gone, it's nuts. So people say social media doesn't work. If you get it on the right platform, it just does that, you
Hmm.
know. And the thing about it is you have to, unfortunately, with social media, it's like Facebook paid ads and all that. You have to pay the money, but it's the best advertisement you can do, you know.
Right.
Yeah,
Nice.
because years ago you'd have to put like an advert, a spread in a magazine or in a local newspaper and all that, and you'd be paying. Nowadays is because now everything is on your phone. It's so it's so accessible, isn't it? But
Yeah.
yeah, social media, the first three, I reckon in social media, if you capture them in the first 3 seconds, you have them for 60 seconds. That's the whole trick with it.
Yep.
You get them engaged, and then you go, oh, what are these boys talking about? And they'll stay on the platform, you know.
Yeah, we were just talking about that in a previous episode, how things are much more, I hate to say, but ADHD a little bit. You know, it's like right? I mean, but seriously, you have
Yeah.
if I put a video out there saying, "Hey, come to train with us," and it's 5 minutes long, and we have the great tradition and lineage of, you know, it's like they're already changed on to something else. They're already moved on, and it's like it's sad because, you know, it's like sometimes we talk, you know, my kids, we like 80s movies, and but there's a big difference. A lot of times the 80s movies will spend time watching a guy make his lunch and put mayonnaise on a sandwich and put it in a brown bag and walk out the door and get in a cab. Nothing to do with the story so far. He's just on his way to work. Now, and then now you see a movie and it starts out, if he's grabbing a bag, there's probably a bomb in it. You know, he's going to make it, and it's got, you know, and you things are going boom, boom, boom. So
Yeah.
it's what it is though. You have to stay with, if you want to be successful, like you said, you got to stay with the times. And that's the way people's minds work. They don't want to hang for too long on the same.
No, it's what's it called? It's called Gen Zing or something they call it now. So it's the young generation that's grown up with mobile phones. Everything is like people now. People now have got no patience. They want it now, 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 now. It's like Amazon. You order something, it's fucking here in an hour. You're going, how did that get here in an hour? Doesn't matter how much you pay for it, you want it. You
It was
want
already
food, you
on
want
its way.
information, you want information. And it's a scary place we're going to be in, because people are going to have no patience. People are going to have no they're going to have no interaction with no interaction with people. They're going to have no people. People are going to have no people skills. Like people would not be able to have conversations like this.
Well, that's already happened. You know,
It's
especially like
terrible,
during the
Dennis.
whole scandemic. I mean,
Yeah,
people were doing not socializing,
yeah, it's
and now
terrible.
they don't know how to interact with other people.
No, and you can see it. Like, you know, you even see even in my business in the bars, 6 or 7 girls that come in, and they're just all on their phones. Like they're sending each other text messages from across the table. Do you get that message I sent you? Oh, isn't it fabulous? It's like you're in the same fucking play. You're at the same table. You're sending each other messages. What's wrong with the world? Put the phone down. Put the phone down and talk. You're in a pub.
Right.
A lot of people are taking phones off people in places so they can bloody have a bit of crack as in fun.
Conversation, yeah, got it, fun.
Yeah, have conversations. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, so tell us about the ring.
The Ring, yeah, the Ring is a boxing pub that we bought in 2001, and it was the home of British boxing. So back in the 1900s, there was a fella called Jack Burge. He took over this. He took over this. He was basically trying to find a venue to hold boxing tournaments, bare knuckle fighters, and he was driving around London for probably for 2 years trying to find a venue that they could fit so many people into, and they drove by this old church. It was a church. The original Ring was a church,
Mm.
and it was a round church. And the reason it was built round is because the priests didn't want any corners for the devil to hide in. Funny enough. So he walked in, and he seen the setup, and he says this would make a great boxing ring, a great arena. And because it was in a circle, and because the box in a in a square in a square ring, they called it the Ring. And I think he opened in 1916, and that's where the Queensby rules and everything was created in there. And he unfortunately he died, and his wife Bella took over the promotion. She was the first ever lady boxing promoter in England, and she ran the show in there, and it was crazy. They were all prize fighters, you know. They were fighting 30, 40 rounds for very little money, you know. But all the Americans used to love to come over to fight the Southpaws, because most of the fighters in the UK were Southpaws, you know.
Mm.
And yeah, she had it for a long time, and then in the war, Second World War, it was used as an air raid shelter, and unfortunately, it took a direct hit. And there was a pub across the road called the Railway Tavern, and that got blown up as well. The whole top came off the pub. So when the boxing club closed down, because they couldn't physically rebuild it. It was a bomb site, and there was 75 people killed. There was an air raid shelter downstairs. There was 75 people killed in the bomb, and they rebuilt the pub, and they called the pub the Ring. So they paid homage to the original boxing ring across the road. So we took over the lease in 2001, and there was a boxing ring upstairs, and boxers used to train there, and we needed the space for a kitchen. So his lease finished, and he opened up. I showed you, Jeremy. He opened up a boxing ring down the road. So he's got the boxing club, but we still have the home of British boxing, and we have all the original photographs of all the original boxers.
Yes.
And those guys, as Dennis, as you know, those guys back in them days, no gloves, fighting.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys were proper fighters back then, you know. But
Where's
yeah,
that located?
yeah, it was yeah, it's got some great heritage there, you know, great heritage.
Where's that located?
It's in Blackfriars. It's just off Southwark Tube Station, in Waterloo in London.
Okay, yeah. So if you guys are through there in that area, and check it out. But yeah,
Oh.
so was it at first? Like, did you say it was the first one open? I forget. There was a story you told.
No, there was the King's Arms, which my dad got in 1993. Geez, that's 32 years ago. Wow. 1993, the King's Arms. My dad came to London in 1990, broke, lost everything in Ireland due to recession and alcohol, and he just needed to get away from the taxman. So yeah, he packed his bags with 20 grand in his pocket and went to work as a barman, and then just worked his way up the ladder. You know, he had a great eye has a great eye for business, and he just built the company up. And then I come over, and then my brother come over, and then my sister come over. So he was on the bicycle. We put the pedals on the bike, and we made it go a bit quicker. So yeah, we built up a nice little nest egg of pubs. Took a long time. It was tough. Took a long time. 30 years ago, an Irishman in London, we were just getting out of all the other bullshit that was happening over here. So it was yeah, it wasn't easy at the start. It wasn't easy.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's amazing. Well, I wanted to ask you a little bit. Let's see. There was a story that you told us as a group years ago.
Uh-oh.
We may have to, I don't know what I have to do for YouTube. I may have to clean it up. No, the story that happened to you in Thailand when you,
Jeez, yeah.
when you got like conned and they tried to get you arrested and all that.
The greatest story ever told.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are you willing to tell that?
Yeah. I'll give you the short version.
Okay.
2012 in Thailand. It was Halloween night. My wife had to go to Bangkok on business, and my two kids were staying. We were staying in a hotel because we were building a house over there, and I brought my two children down to stay with their auntie, and I went for a few drinks down a local bars and restaurants, literally 10-minute walk from where we were staying in the hotel. So dropped the kids in, went down to this bar, had about 2 beers, and then everything changed. I woke up in a ladies' establishment, if that's one way of putting it. So I woke up in this ladies' establishment. So what happened was I was in that bar. Somebody put a pill in my drink, and just I can't really remember. I ended up being taken in a tuk-tuk. There's the little 3-wheel motorbikes. They brought me to this place, and I remember putting my hand in my pocket, paying in the door. So I ended up in this establishment anyway, and I woke up. There was probably 100 people in this. It was like a nightclub, and I woke up and I seen all this alcohol and Red Bull and beers and everybody having a great time, and then going, "Jesus, how did I end up here?" You know. So I just says, "Time to go." So I was wearing some shorts and I had 3,000 baht, which is about £60, and I looked at the table and I went, "That'll cover the bill. I just need to go." And I said, "Check bill cap." which is, can I have the bill, please, in Thai? And this guy comes over and he goes, yes, I get you the bill. I says, lovely. Where am I? And I'm looking around and I'm going, I didn't know where it was. I'm looking for the exit signs. I'm going, how do I get out of this joint? Next thing, he brings over the bill, and I'm reading this bill. It was like toilet paper. It kept going and going and going. I went, gee, I says, there's no way I drank all this alcohol. Got to the end of the bill, and it was like, in sterling, it was like £750. That's massive in Thailand. And I says to myself, the penny dropped, and I went, I've been done up like a kipper here. It means I've been set up,
Yeah.
And then the adrenaline kicked in. I could feel my ass getting wider, going, oh my God, this is, how am I going to get out of here? And then I suddenly realized I had a £3,500 watch on my wrist that I was meant to leave in the hotel, because I'd never wear a good watch out. And I was trying to take the watch off, and this fella goes, what's wrong? And then I took my attention away from the watch, and I went, I says, that's not my bill. I says, there's 3,000 baht. No, not good enough, not good enough. I says, no, that's all I'm paying. And I'm looking around, and I can see the whole crowd looking at me, and everybody started leaving. There's about 12 people left in the room, and I says, oh jeez, I'm going to get the shit kicked down me here. So I went to get up, and next thing, this security man clocked me. Tooth is still missing. Clocked me here. I can remember me tooth coming out of my mouth. And I went, whoa. I says, what's going on? He says, check, you need to pay the bill. I says, look, I didn't drink that. I'm not paying it. There's £60. That's all I'm paying. No. So all these other people left anyway. The security guy took out like a telescopic baton,
Mhm.
and he hit me on the side of the leg. And the pain, I went, oh my God. And I went to get up, and I couldn't physically stand up because they had drugged me. And then the pain in my leg went away straight away. And then he kept hitting me more. And I couldn't feel nothing in my legs. I went, oh my God, I says, I can't even run out of here. So they kept me there for about 4 hours trying to find out where I lived, where was my hotel, why didn't I have a bank card, where's your cash, and I couldn't even remember my own name. I was so off my head on this drug that they've given me. So anyway, they said, let's take him outside. So I'm going, thank God. But before they took me out, your man seen I was trying to cover my watch. Your man goes, what's that? I says, no, it's only my watch. Oh, expensive. I says, no, bought in Bangkok. Cheap. No, take off. I says, no. Then they started kicking the shit out of me. So they took my watch off, and he goes, oh, that's real. I says, no, it's not real, it's false. Anyway, they got my £3,500 watch, and the watch was gone. So they bring me outside, and I'm looking up and down this street, and I'm trying to remember where I am. Now I'm in flip flops, I'm in shorts, and I'm in a vest t-shirt. And I says, right, time for Johnny Boy to get out of here. So there's two girls that got me, right, big long nails. I basically elbowed one, elbowed the other one, and they're literally their nails went into my chest and ripped off my shirt. I was like Bruce Lee in Enter the Dragon, like literally. So I says, right, I'm free now. I says, right, let's run. I went to run in my flip flops, and I slipped because it was raining. I slipped, and my two knees hit the curb, busted my two knees open. So I was all battered from being bet up for 3 or 4 hours. Chest all ripped open from the girls. Busted my knees, and I started running, and I just ran, and I ran around this corner, and I ran into a cul-de-sac. I ran into a dead end, ran into a car park, and I went, shit, there's no way out here. There's no windows, there's no roofs to climb up on, there's nothing. So there was a bicycle shed, and I found a little corner in the bicycle shed, and I hid in the corner like this, and I could see them saying, where is he? And this guy goes, oh, he's over there. This guy come over and says, you pay money now. I says, I don't have any money. And they say, one guy said he has money in his trousers. And I says, I've got no money in my trousers. Just leave me alone. And I was wearing a pair of denim trousers with the legs cut off with a belt. And they pulled the trousers off me, and the buckle of the belt caught me on my waist and split me open as well. So here I am naked in a bicycle shed at 6 o'clock in the morning in Thailand. pissing rain. So I stood up anyway. And because of the adrenaline, I don't know whether you can edit it or whatever. Because of the adrenaline, I basically had a big, massive shit. Right, it was the length of my arm, just fell out of me because of it, because of adrenaline. Right, and I said to myself, if just in this split second, if I get my poo and if I rub it on myself, they won't want to touch me. They won't beat me up. But before I got to grab it, they started laying into me, bang, bang, bang. And then I just thought of my two kids, and I don't know how I got out of there. I just punched, I screamed, I kicked, I bit. I get out of there, ran out of the car park. They're running after me. Now, just visualize it. Just after having a massive shit, covered in blood, naked, 6 o'clock in the morning in Chiang Mai. Didn't know where I was. I says, I'm going to die here. This is the end of me. Ran out into the street. There's crowds coming out of these clubs, and I'm going, oh my God, what's going on here? And I was in a really dodgy part of Thailand, because in Thailand, everything closed at 1 o'clock. There was people pouring out of these places. So I was in a really bad part of Chiang Mai. And next thing I seen, these taxis that you jump on and jump off. So I jumped into the back, and there's a perspex wall. I says, drive, drive, drive. So the security man that had, that was beating me up with the telescopic stick, he said, get out now. You need to pay the bill. I says, no, 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 no. He put his hand in his pocket and he took out a taser. I went, oh, Jesus, here we go. Going to electrocute me. So he came at me into the back of the taxi. And I just basically, the first thing I wanted to do was just kick him. And he caught me on the leg with the taser and knocked me out. And then I woke up in the street, no clothes on, everybody looking at me. And I'm going to die. I'm never going to see my kids again. And the guys are all going, you need to pay a bill. I says, geez, just get me out here. I said, I've got no clothes on me. You've nicked my watch. I just need to get out here, you know. And then the drugs were starting to ease off. This is like 8 o'clock in the morning. These guys had me from midnight till 8 o'clock in the morning. And next thing I heard the police siren. I went, oh, lovely. I'm saved. I said, who called the police? And the guy that stole my watch says, I called the police. You owe me money. I went, you're having a laugh. And then I went, now the police are in on this gig as well. I'm going to end up in prison. I said, there's no way I'm going in there. So somebody threw me a pair of trousers for my dignity. So I put on these trousers. The police came, handcuffed me, right? Threw me in the back of this pickup in the pissings of rain and drove me to this police station. God knows where it was. So arrived at this police station, and thank God, there was a guy there from New Zealand. He was the tourist police. And he says, young man, he goes, do not mention drugs. I know what's after happening to you. You're being set up. Don't mention drugs. If you mention drugs, they'll do a drug test on you. You'll be put in jail for 3 months. And that's what they'll do. You'll never get out of there.
All right, we're going to stop it right there. Yeah, Johnny Mac. He will continue the greatest story ever told, as he calls it. See what happens, how he got out alive from being drugged in Thailand, and learn how this motivated him on his path to martial discovery, as we might call it. So stay tuned, guys. Episode 2 is coming soon.